I'm going to call the zoning board meeting for October 15th, 2025 to order. The board that will be sitting tonight to hear the cases is member Steve Lianis, member Monique Screen-Berry, our alternate member Jamie Hodges, member James Sweeney, and myself, Kenneth Galligan, as chair. Our building inspector and clerk for the board is Mr. James Plouffe, and our secretaries tonight, we have two. We have Monica Fagazzo and Lily Gadivia. I would ask anyone that has a cell phone or electronic device, if you could just shut it off, put it on silence so it doesn't disturb the meeting. If you need to use a telephone, I would appreciate if you take the conversation out into the hallway. I will tell you also that this meeting is being televised. It is live on TV, and from time to time over the next month it will be shown throughout the month. So just realize everything tonight is being recorded. Prior to the start of the meeting, there is an opportunity for anyone who is scheduled to present tonight to withdraw prior to the start of the meeting without prejudice. Is there anyone here tonight that wants to withdraw? Seeing none, we will move on. The format of the meeting will be that when I call the case, the presenter or the petitioner will come up to the podium and explain to the board the request for a special permit variance, whatever it is that you're asking for. Just realize that if you're asking for a variance, you need to show a hardship to the board. At the conclusion of your testimony as the petitioner, I will ask the board members if they have any questions relative to the testimony that was just given. This is the opportunity for the board members to ask the petitioner any questions about the testimony that they heard. When that is complete, I will close that portion of the meeting and I will open it up then for public discussion. At this point, I will ask if there's anybody in the room that wants to speak in favor of the petitioner. Closing that, I will ask if there's anyone here that wants to speak in opposition. Closing that, I will ask if there's any elected official in the room that wants to be heard on the issue. And lastly, I'll ask if there's anyone in the room that has any question regarding the testimony that has been given. Following that, I will close that portion of the hearing, and that completes the public input into the discussions. I will then turn it over to the board, and the board will then discuss the testimony that was given. You will hear the board deliberating based upon the testimony that was given and how it relates to our zoning. At some point, you will hear a zoning board member make a motion to approve or grant. If that is seconded, I will call upon the clerk to poll the board. In order for a petition to pass, if all 5 members vote in the affirmative, the petition will be granted. If the vote is 4 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, the petition will be granted. Anything less than that will be denied. So a 3-2 vote is a denial. At the end of the voting, I will then announce the vote of the board, and I will then announce to everyone in the room whether the petition has been granted or denied. And I think that's it. We good? All right. Right, the first petition before us tonight is petition number 2556, the petition of Stefan Gillings, 14 Electric Avenue, Brockton, Mass, for a variance and special permit, seeking relief from section 2720 to turn the existing garage into a living space lacking rear, side setbacks and open stair egress in an R1C zone located at 14 Electric Avenue. Good evening. Please identify yourself.
Sure. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Attorney Derek Small. I have a business address of 51 Dobson Road, Braintree, Mass. And with me tonight is the owner of the property and a resident, Mr. Stefan Gillings. Mr. Chairman, we're here today seeking relief in the form of a variance and a special permit from section 27-20 of the code to change the occupancy of the garage to a garage with living space above, taking advantage of the state's or the Commonwealth's ADU program. Under Chapter 150 of the Acts of 2024, Affordable Homes Acts, it allows ADUs in single-family zoning districts. This zoning district is a R1C zone. And again, we're seeking to create an accessory dwelling unit above the existing garage. We are 5 feet in the rear from the rear lot line. And on the side, we are approximately 11 and a half feet from the side yard. The topography of the lot is such that it slopes in the rear a little bit and creates a little bit of an issue in the rear, which is why we are seeking the rear yard relief. The lot or the violations are pre-existing non-conforming, and that's what we're seeking to do. I think you all have the plans, and we have a hard copy of plans if anyone needs any illustration. We can stop there and open it up for any questions that the board members may have.
You're going to have to speak up a little bit louder.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
Just bring the microphone closer.
Okay, I didn't know it was me. Oh, yeah.
Just tip it up a little bit and you'll be in good shape.
All right, thank you.
Very good, thank you.
So we'll take any questions that board members may have at this time.
Do you know the square footage of the lot?
9,000, let's see, here, site plan. What's the stuff on 9,000 square feet? Over 9,000 square feet. Trying to find the site plan. Actually, just. And again, this is going to be used for his family. He's trying to move in his aging mother, who currently resides with him at the site as well.
Okay, do you know the relief that you're asking for, we'll say, from the rear setback of this proposed dwelling?
Say that again, I didn't hear what
Are you aware of the required setback for the rear setback for this proposed dwelling?
Yes. It's 30 feet, I believe.
30 feet?
Yep.
Okay. So the required setback for this ADU is 30 feet, and you're telling us that you have 5 feet?
That is correct, 5 feet in the
Okay,
rear.
so you're asking for relief from rear yard setback.
That's correct.
Secondly, the side yard setback for this particular dwelling, you realize that the side setback is 15 feet,
That is correct.
and you're proposing 10 feet.
Yep,
So you're asking for relief for side yard setback.
that is correct. Side yard setback and the rear yard setback. That's correct.
On your plans that you submitted,
Excuse me.
bear with me for a second here.
Sure, it's a- Hold on a minute.
On your plans that you submitted, it shows living space on the first floor and the second floor.
No, just the second floor. We're proposing a 2 bedrooms above and a bathroom and living and kitchen area. I don't think there's any on the first floor with a garage. Just a bathroom on the ground floor.
Okay, what is the proposed use of that room that's going to be downstairs on ground level?
You can come up to the space to the right, just a bathroom on the ground level, and then open space with
A bar area.
Okay, could you please identify yourself?
Sure.
Hi, my name is Stefan Gillens. I'm the owner of
You're
14
the owner of the
Village.
property?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so the plans that you submitted show that the total habitable area is 1,282 square feet. The ordinance limits the habitable square feet to 900 square feet.
It's on the second floor, that's where it's going to be the ADU program, that's the 900 square feet.
Okay? But it appears as though there's also going to be used on the first floor also. In other words, the garage isn't going to take up the whole downstairs, correct?
Oh, most of it, yes.
Yeah, okay,
Only the area where the bathroom is located is not.
okay. So, what I see here is you're asking for relief from side yard setback, rear yard setback, the amount of occupied area. The one thing that I don't see on the plans is the required 10-foot setback between the pergola and this proposed building. That has to be a minimum of 10 feet. It doesn't show anything on the plan as to how far that is away from there.
It's moved.
Mr. Gillings is stating that it's approximately 15 to 20. I don't, on the site plan, I don't know if it shows it on that site plan.
I looked at all the plans, I could not find it.
Okay.
So anyway, I just want to make sure that we understand that that has to be at least 10 feet away.
Yes.
So that's in dispute as to what that is. Now, additionally, you're asking for a special permit for an outside stairway. Can you explain to the board why you need this outside stairway?
Outside stairway is the second means of egress off of the left side of the proposed garage for the egress from the second floor. You have the internal staircase, and the left side, there'll be an external staircase as well.
So if we look at this building as we come down the driveway, the stair would be on the left-hand side?
Yes.
Okay.
There's-
Can you also explain to the board the situation with the parking that you are showing in the driveway? I think I see 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 cars in the driveway.
I think that's just to illustrate how many cars can go there. We don't necessarily have that many cars that will be parked there, but I think that's just shown to illustrate the space, the amount of space that we have at that side where that paved driveway is.
Okay, because on the plan, it looks like it's pretty difficult for any vehicle that is beyond the edge of the current house to even pass by a car that's parked in the driveway.
Right now, 2 cars could fit side by side. So if I park on the left-hand side, there's a car could park right beside me. I don't have to move the cars. I have 12 feet, but the driveway is like 12, 13 feet across.
Okay,
It's
very
like
good.
40-something feet in length.
And you have not mentioned anything about, I might have missed it, who is going to occupy this? A family member?
My mom,
Your mother?
yes.
Okay.
She's living with me right now in my current home.
So you also realize that this cannot be used as a short-term rental like an Airbnb? That is
Nope.
not allowed?
Yes.
We're
Correct.
very aware of that. But
Okay.
So, on page A01, it says the existing garage will be removed,
Yes.
then just the whole thing will be rebuilt again?
That's where the new structure is going to be. I'm going to, current, at this moment, the existing garage is within this, it's in the setback of the property, so I'm going to remove it off the property line 5 feet, because right now it's exactly on the property line. So I'm going to move the garage, the new structure, I'm going to bring it up 5 feet.
Okay. And on the first floor there, it says a bathroom. Is it going to be another kitchen down there? It says a sink, cabinets, and a bar?
It's just a bar here, just a bar.
Just like a counter.
Like a hangout area?
Yeah, just like if family members like have a party, a family event, instead of going to my main house to use the bathroom, they could use this outside here. And if I'm,
And do you know the square footage of that area?
I think it's the same. It's 800. Oh, of this.
Of that particular area,
And not counting the garage area?
not
Okay.
counting that.
No, it's,
About 60 square feet, maybe?
yeah. So the
Could you tell the board the height of this structure when it's completed?
25 feet,
25 feet?
25 feet high. I think
I think it's like, at the back, it's like 12 feet from the wall of the garage of where the cars are parked.
I would just ask you to speak into the microphone. It's very difficult to hear you up here.
No, I'm trying to answer the question that he asked before, between where the garage ended and where the bathroom is. I think it's like 12 feet from front to back, and like 30 feet, 29 feet across.
Okay.
So if you're taking down this garage structure, what's preventing you from being in conformance with the new structure?
This setback,
Right, but other than that,
that's it.
so you could put it in, you know, what I'm saying is, on that lot, why can't you come into compliance with the current setbacks?
But then it might be a violation with regard to where the pergola is. It would lessen the distance between the pergola and the actual garage.
Is there a, you know, a setback on the pergola?
No, but again, I think we have to be a certain distance from the pergola to the new garage, and if we move the new garage forward,
Do you know what that distance is?
I believe it's 10 feet.
No, it's like 15 feet.
10 feet?
Yep.
The problem is it doesn't show the distance on the plan. That's why we don't know how close it is.
So is that pergola, I didn't drive down the driveway, is that concrete foundation,
It's a slab,
a slab,
Yes.
concrete slab?
concrete slab with blue stone.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions from board members? Everybody's good? All right, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing, open it up for public discussion. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there any elected official in the room that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone in the room that has a question relative to the testimony that has been given? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. That completes the public discussion. I will now close that portion of the hearing and open it up now for deliberation among the board members. Board members.
Seems like there's a lot of things to take into consideration with the relief, with the size and the amount of setback relief. The parking situation, you can go around every issue, but it just seems like it's a lot for that single-family house. And that's a lot of relief.
Yeah, ask a question.
So what I see on this location, I'm not opposed to what they want to do. My concern is what the city has determined, what the city wants for setback on these proposed ADUs. It is quite a excessive ask for the 5 feet as opposed to 30. I'm having a problem dealing with the hardship that was shown as the need for the relief from that setback. There may be other options that could be done here. So personally, I'm not against the ADU. I'm just very concerned about how close this ADU is sitting to the property line. It's my concern.
Motion to grant.
Second?
All right, so on this motion, we got two things in front of us. One is a variance to allow this to be built, and secondly, a special permit to put the stairway outside on the north side of the building. Do you want to combine those two into one vote?
I think we should combine them unless anyone
Yes.
says.
Yeah.
I think one goes with the other, so as to speak. All right, a motion has been made and seconded to grant. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Landis.
No.
Ms. Hodges.
No.
Mr. Sweeney.
No.
Ms. Greenberry.
No.
Chair Galligan.
No.
Mr. Chair, that's 0 in the affirmative, 5 in the negative.
The vote is 0 in the affirmative, 5 in the negative. The petition as presented is denied.
Thank you.
Okay, the next petition, 2557, the petition of De Silva Enterprises, 281 Pleasant Street, Brockton, Mass., for a variance seeking relief from Article 3, Section 2712, to determine the lot is an existing lot of record and buildable, or in the alternative, Article 3, Section 279, 2713, 2713A, to build a single-family dwelling home on a vacant lot in an R1C zone located at 135 Hammond Street.
Good evening, Chairman and board members. I'm Christopher Vale for the petitioner Ricky De Silva of De Silva Enterprises, and along with me is Scott Ferrier from J.K. Holmgren Engineering. As you heard, this is an appeal to the board seeking to approve the subject property as a pre-existing non-conforming buildable lot in accordance with Brockton Ordinance Article 3, Section 2712, or in the alternative, the applicant seeks a variance under Article 3, Sections 27.9, 27.13, and 27.13A to build a single-family house on the vacant lot. To do so, the petitioner is seeking relief from the lot's minimum lot area, frontage, and rear setbacks. Some facts particular to Lot 16 as shown in plan as that it is an R1C zone, which is located at 135 Hammond Street, which is currently vacant. Lot 16 has been described separately on a series of deeds dating back to 1941, which was always believed to be buildable by the common owner, Frederick Alamba. Mr. Alamba owns lots 15, 16, and 17, in which lots 15 and 17 are being used as a single-family home. However, lot 16 was always described separately and remained vacant with the intention that it is a grandfathered buildable lot. In August 2025, the City of Brockton assessors split Lot 16 from lots 15 and 17, creating two separate parcels, 140-79 and 140-154, with 140-154 being the new parcel from the split. This Lot 16 is now separately taxed from 15 and 17. Along with my application, I attached the email confirmation from the Board of Assessors. However, Mr. De Silva intends to build a single-family home on this lot that consists of 6,960 square feet with 72 and a half feet of frontage on Hammond Street. The single-family home will be constructed in the middle of the lot, meeting the front and side setbacks of the city's ordinance. The proposed home is requesting relief for the rear setback of 1 foot due to the construction of a bulkhead for the house. The new house will have ample amount of parking space in the front and will be 17 and 18 feet away from the abutters' property lines. The project will also have ample amount of green space and would not negatively impact other properties in the neighborhood. In fact, the neighborhood would benefit by having a new home constructed, which would improve the looks and add value to homes already constructed in the neighborhood. Why we believe Lot 16 is buildable by right is due to the fact that it is a vacant lot of record that is in common ownership by the present owner, Frederick Alamba. Since 1941, it has always been described separately from lots 15 and 17 in a series of deeds, all of which are attached to my memorandum. These 3 lots are held in common ownership by Mr. Alamba, but lots 15 and 17 are not vacant by the existence of a residential home, which is constructed evenly on both lots. The adjacent lot 16 has always remained vacant and untouched. The intent of describing lot 16 separately in one deed and keeping it vacant and not building upon it was to keep that lot separate and buildable. Otherwise, the 3 lots of description would have been all merged and/or used to be built upon. However, if the board disagrees with my analysis, Mr. De Silva is seeking a variance, thus needing to show a hardship. In the present case, the hardship is that the homeowner always believed that they owned separate lots that were never merged, as they were labeled as separate lots in deeds dating back to 1941. In addition, the vacant lot does have a unique size and shape that is stuck in the middle of lots 15 and 17, which were purposely merged to build the residential property on their L-shaped lot. So based on my analysis, we are asking you to approve that it is a buildable lot under 2712, or in the alternative, grant Mr. De Silva a variance in order to build this house.
We have a decision from a building inspector quite some time ago that that was not a buildable lot. Apparently, when that decision was made, there was no appeal made for that decision, so that decision still stands. So I think what we're looking for tonight is a variance to allow the construction of a home on that lot. We do not know why the building inspector made that decision. The building inspector is long gone. At one point, that entire corner of 3 lots was one area, and they split and added the house in addition to the house and actually combined 2 of the lots, but this lot ended up staying by itself. And I think that's where we are today.
Correct.
So as far as appealing the decision that it's a buildable lot, I don't think we can entertain that because the decision stands, nobody appealed it, and it still stands today. So I think what we need to look at tonight is whether or not he would qualify to put a single-family house on this lot that is a lot, but apparently is not buildable without a variance. I think that's where we're at.
Correct. I do know Attorney McCluskey did file a letter to the building department on July 22nd asking them to overturn that decision that was made, I don't know, I believe back in 1998.
And that decision was not overturned.
I don't think anything was ever acted upon it.
That could be. But the point I'm trying to make is the original decision that was made many years ago is still in play. So that decision that the lot was not buildable was never appealed, so the way I look at it, no other decision has ever been made, so that one stands. So what we're looking at tonight is that lot as a standalone lot with a variance to build a house on it. So I don't know why that decision was made. I can't answer for that, but unfortunately, that's the way it stands, okay? So, board members, any questions?
The style of this house, is it a colonial?
Yes, it is.
Colonial?
It's 28 by 34. And if you're a
Please
little
put the
bit,
microphone.
sorry, Chief, a little bit smaller than your typical colonial, but 28 by 34, still with 4 bedrooms.
Could you explain to the board where the front door is going to be located on this building?
It is pretty much right in the middle. There's a 1-foot jog in the front of the building, so it's offset right in that 1-foot jog, so it's directly in the dead center of that front 34-foot face of the building.
So the house will face Hammond Street.
Correct.
Got it.
The front door will face Hammond Street.
Board members, any questions?
One more question. What's the lot size?
6,960. It's got about 72 feet of frontage.
Ninety by 72.5,
Yes.
and it looks like the whole lot is 6880. Can you tell us anything about a hardship on this location?
I think the hardship is that I believe that this lot is, or should have been, a grandfathered lot, in which the owner always believed it was, as well as the fact that it's now merged in that L-shaped lot, which I stated.
So would this be a financial hardship?
Yes.
Okay. Board members, any other questions? Everybody's good? Okay, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there any elected official in the room that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone in the room that has a question relative to any of the testimony that has been given tonight? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. That concludes the public discussion. I will now open it up for deliberation among the board members. Board members.
I think it has decent setback when you situate, the construction on the lot, so I don't necessarily see an issue.
I agree.
We don't know why the decision was made to make that unbuildable without a variance, but that's the decision that stands, so that's why we need to address it tonight. It does meet a lot of the setbacks, what they're trying to do. When I researched the plots and the deeds, there was separate delineations here, and apparently when they added the large addition onto the house, which turned out to be a garage, they actually took up plot 27, and whether that was determined to affect the other lot that's in question tonight, we'll never know. But I think it's up to us tonight to decide what we want to do with that, so.
Yeah. Motion to grant?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to grant the variance to allow them to construct the home as it is shown on the plan, with the stipulation that the front door will face Hammond Street. Everybody's good on that?
Yes.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Lanus.
Yes.
Ms. Hodges.
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney.
Yes.
Ms. Greenberry.
Yes.
Chair Galligan.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, that's 5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative.
The vote is 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The petition is granted.
Thank you, everyone.
Right, that affected that one. Yeah, I don't have a problem. Okay, the next petition is 2558, the petition of Stephen Torrey, TY Real Estate LLC, 33 Dover Street, Brockton, Mass., for a variance seeking relief from Article 3, Section 2713 and Section 2729 to build a single-family dwelling home on an existing vacant lot in an R1 zone located at Plot 46-2 West Chestnut Street, also known as Ash Street Extension.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Chris Vale for petitioner Steve Torrey, and alongside me is engineer Azu Ataneru from ET Engineering. As you heard, this is a petition to the Zoning Board of Appeals seeking a variance to allow for the construction of a single-family home in an R1B zone. The petitioner, Mr. Torrey, is seeking relief from the city's ordinances for the lot's minimum area and frontage. Some facts particular to plot 46-2 shown in plan is that it's located at 0 Ash Street Extension and is currently vacant. Mr. Torrey is under agreement to purchase the property contingent on the approval of this variance from the board. Mr. Torrey intends to build a single-family home on the lot that consists of 22,469 square feet with 130.49 feet of frontage on Ash Street Extension. The single-family home will be constructed in the middle of the lot, meeting the front, rear, and side setbacks of the city's ordinance. The new house will have an ample amount of parking space in the front and will be 35.5 on the left and 50.8 on the right feet away from the abutters' property lines. The project will have ample amount of green space consisting of 89% of the lot, which would also not negatively impact other properties in the neighborhood. The neighborhood would benefit by having a new home constructed, which would improve the looks and add value to the homes already constructed in the neighborhood. In addition, Mr. Torrey does plan on greatly improving this neighborhood. Not only is he going to build a new house, but he's going to widen the entrance of Ash Street Extension with granite curbing on its radius. He's also going to extend the water line to have a fire hydrant nearby the house, as well as going to extend the sewer line from the end of the road to this newly constructed lot. These additions will not only provide a safer street for the neighborhood, but also will advance it. In regards to the hardship, is that this lot is in an R1B zone that requires 30,000 square feet of a minimum area and 175 feet of frontage. The size of the lot makes this lot practically unusable, which gives this lot a unique shape, being its hardship. Also, along with the road entrance and no water or sewer lines on that road, that is also a hardship. So based on all these reasons, we are asking you to grant the variance.
Could you just quickly review the hardship once again?
Once again, the hardship being that the lot is in an R1B zone, which requires 30,000 square feet of a minimum area and 175 feet of frontage. So the size of the lot does have a unique shape, which practically makes it a hardship by basically being unusable without a variance. Along with the fact that Ash Street Extension is an older road that does not have a widened entrance or sewer as well as water lines.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
So at that entrance and on that corner, your lot is proposed essentially one lot back, correct?
Correct.
So widening that entrance, are you encroaching on any other private property?
No.
Okay, so what's there now, you can widen up to what is still the right-of-way?
It's still city property, yes.
Okay. And that, we saw this on planning, that's 24 feet you wanted to expand to? Something like that?
Yes, sir. You want me to show you?
Yes.
I actually have the intersection plan, if you want to see that, what we propose. And the DPW has actually approved that.
Okay, so if you wouldn't mind, and for the benefit of the board, on the planning board, we had mentioned they needed to meet with the DPW. I stipulated that in order to see what they were going to determine for that intersection. As you know, it's one of our more dangerous intersections. So I wanted to see what they proposed, and if you guys wouldn't mind explaining what that conversation brought.
Okay, so we met with the city DPW, and as you can see here, actually I have an extra copy, Steve, if you want to pass that so they can see that. So what we have right here is an intersection radius of 20 feet, as well as over here. And then a stop sign that we are putting right here, and I have the detail of that stop sign right here. So we're widening this at 24 feet, and then putting a radius so that you can actually come up here. There's a utility pole that's over here. Right now, the edge of pavement is right here, so you're almost going to be into the road to be able to see oncoming vehicles. By widening this, as we're proposing, you have a better sight distance.
Okay, and all the brush that's on that intersection, because it's heavy brush and heavy trees.
Correct.
There, you wouldn't even know it was a street if you're not from the
Right, so that's why right where we're widening it, that's all going to be clear. And if you look at it, to answer your question about whether there will be an encroachment on abutting property, this is actually the layout of our West Chestnut Street. This is the layout of West Chestnut Street.
Okay.
So we got plenty of room for clearing.
And what's the size of the street now? You're going to 24 feet, you say, what is it now?
It's a variable width from anywhere from 12 to 15 feet.
Because it's just basically a dirt road, right? I didn't go up,
right.
but I knew someone that lived there when I was younger.
That is correct. It's so broken asphalt, and that is going to be all improved to the. If you go down a street extension, it's a wall on both sides, which is exactly 24 feet, and that's what we're widening it to.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
So just to make sure we understand this is not a city street. This is a private road. It's owned by the abutters, correctly?
Correct.
And when I drove up there, I noticed the stone walls on both sides of the street. It looks as though the stone walls are in the layout of the street. The street on the chart here shows that the street width is supposed to be 40-foot street, right? So now, with the stones on each side of the street, you're telling us from the stones, left and right, you got clearance of 24 feet.
That is correct.
So you're telling us that the road, stones to stones, would be 24 feet.
Correct, sir.
This is not a constructed street. It's nothing more than a wide driveway, as it exists today.
You can make that argument.
Pardon me?
That can be an argument made. That is correct. So the widening will improve so that it meets city standards, and we discussed that with the DPW as stipulated by the planning board, and we do have that approval letter.
So if this street was to be laid out like any other street in the city, is it a requirement that there should be granite edge stones, trees, sidewalks? What happened here? Why is this not taking place at this location?
Because it is important also to maintain the natural character of the neighborhood. And there were only about 6 homes that will be there, and in doing a lot of that will eliminate a lot of trees, which derogates, in our view, the character of the neighborhood. So widening the street, about 24-foot width improvement is adequate, bringing in the utilities, the water and sewer, to this level that can service fire protection with the hydrants. And as a matter of fact, a couple of houses there have septic systems. So this improvement will actually add to the value of those homes by providing access to public sewer. So it's a balance between providing adequate access while maintaining the natural buffers that are very conducive for the neighborhood.
What is the standard width of a street in the city of Brockton, blacktop travel area?
Well, I've done quite a few subdivisions on Early Street. I've done one on right off of Carl Ave. Those were 24 and 26. But if you're looking at Crescent Street, for example, that is 30 feet.
Yeah, I'm not looking at Crescent Street.
Right. No, I'm just saying, Mr. Chairman, the width of the roadway typically have to be consistent with the character of the roadway and for example, you have what we call subdivision roads with a dead end. You have what we call collector roads, which pick up more streets. So the character of the road and the grade of the road will dictate the width of the road. For example, I'm not going to do, if I'm driving on 24, I have wider lanes than I would have on Crescent Street. Crescent Street, for example, is a collector road that feeds arterial roadways. It picks up traffic, dumps them on Route 18, picks up traffic, takes them on 27 and Center Street, as well as Main Street. Main Street is wider because it has businesses on it. So what a road serves will dictate the width of the road. I'm not going to recommend putting 30 feet in a small neighborhood that serves only 5 homes. That will be uncharacteristic.
Okay, so I just want to comment that my question doesn't refer to Route 18, Route 123. I'm talking about a neighborhood street. And we had a similar one, similar to this, over off of Crescent Street, where the developer wanted to put a relatively narrow street in, and for public safety purposes, we had a very serious problem with that. If the street was 24 feet wide and there were no stone walls, if you had to go off the hard pavement for any reason, you could. I'm having a problem understanding how you are going to blacktop from stone wall to stone wall, and even when you plow the street, there's absolutely no place to put the snow. I think if that street was to be plowed, the street might be only 15 feet wide. So that's a concern that I have, that the stone walls will remain. This street, so-called, is really nothing more than a wide driveway, and it is a private road. If this is a private road, all the landowners on that street own to the center of the road. Is that correct?
I'm not an attorney. That's why I have an attorney here.
I'm sorry, your question?
That's correct.
I'm sorry,
Do the property owners own to the center of the road?
yes.
Okay, so now, can you explain to the board, you're telling us you're going to take a lot of trees down here to put this road in. Has there been any permission granted from any of these landowners to take all these big trees? There's some big trees up there, huge trees, right in the middle of the road.
Yeah, I believe that this is going to be beneficial to the neighborhood as well as safety concerns with what you mentioned with fire trucks coming in. We're widening the entrance. So I do think that this is a benefit to all the property owners on that street.
And we have been down the road on this before of looking at an existing lot that does not exist on a constructed road. In our ordinance, it talks about a lot being on a constructed street. There's a lot at play here. This is not a public street as we know it. It's a private road. I'm having problems with permission from people that own property on that street to allow the developer to come in and do what he wants to do. I think it would be very helpful if we had some type of letters or something that the neighbors would support this, to allow them to come in and cut all the trees down. I don't know how this situation is going to play out at the corner of Ash and West Chestnut. That is a very dangerous intersection. Obviously, you talk about radiuses, but I haven't heard much about how that is going to play out. If you put a water main on the street, is that water main going to go as far as this new house that you're going to build? Is that the end of the water main?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and same with the sewer you're going to bring. Where would the sewer come in from? West Chestnut Street, or would it come in from the backside?
It's coming from the rear, yes.
From West Chestnut Street,
No opposite answer.
from the opposite end of the street.
Yes. Correct.
The main sewer taking line is at the south end of that street, so it would pitch to that end.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So, Mr. Chair, so, back to the intersection again. So the only proposals are a stop sign? Is that what happened with the DPW? Am I missing something?
That's correct.
Okay.
And widening that, and widening that
24
intersection.
feet in a stop sign.
Well, so it's widened to 24 feet.
Yeah.
But because I have the radii, 20 feet radius on either side,
Yeah.
and it's at 90 degrees, so that over 20-foot radius adds 20 plus 20 plus 24. That gives you about 64 feet.
I'm sorry, can you run me through that again?
So I have 24 feet,
Right.
and I have a radius of 20 feet. And when my radius intersects at 90 degrees, the radius and the tangent are the same value. So the tangent that I'm...
Talking about the entire intersection?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So that'll be 24, 20. So that's 40, 64.
Okay.
Yes.
During that meeting, no curbing, nothing on that?
No, we have granite curbing.
Okay, so that was also proposed?
That's correct.
Okay, and where was that supposed to be placed?
At the back end of the radius. So if you're looking at over here, so that this right here will be the curbing. This also will be the curbing right here.
So it ends essentially where the right-of-way stops?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I don't want to get too out in the weeds here on construction and how the street is going to lay out. I just need to make a comment that I have a concern about the actual width of the street. The stone walls are going to remain. They're rubble stone walls, they're not finished stone, so the distance between stones on each side of the street can vary. There are a lot of trees that are going to have to be taken down. The landowners up there own to the middle of the street. It is a private road. We have a section of our ordinance here under 2713, and when we measure the frontage, it's supposed to be measured along the constructed portion of the right-of-way only. So this street is what it is. It's been that way for many, many years. I don't doubt that. But I am just concerned that there is more information that I need to have before I can make a decision on this. And
I think this plan...
It's true that you are saying you're going to bring a water main in, you're going to bring sewer main in, that would be a benefit, absolutely no question about it. But I am very concerned on public safety issues on the width of that street. And we did a similar street on the east side of the city not too long ago where we denied it because it was a very narrow street. They came back and redesigned the street, and they widened the street, and on the second try around, they were granted. So my concern with this thing right now, based upon what you're telling us, is public safety, and particularly if the stone walls were not there. When that street, well, I gotta wait till he stops talking.
And Chairman, if I can say,
Let me finish my thought.
okay.
So my thought is, if the stone walls were not there, when that street is plowed, it could be plowed to 24 feet wide. With the stone walls, there's no way that street is going to be opened up to 24 feet when we have snow on the ground. And I'm concerned that that is a public safety issue. Secondly, I'm very concerned that we have not heard from people that well, I do have a letter here, that have some concerns about what's going to happen with that street. So, board members, any other questions you got?
And just to alleviate some of your concerns, there is going to be a fire hydrant that's going to be in there, widening, as well as the fact that we have gone to the planning board and did receive a approval for a definitive subdivision for 2 lots that are further down. We were waiting on that appeal period in order to bring that to the board's attention, but just even doing the entrance and everything that Mr. Torrey is agreeing to do just for this 1 lot, that comes to a great expense to him. However, in the next month or two, the board is going to have another petition from Mr. Torrey with building 2 lots further down on that road, which is going to greatly alleviate some of your concerns with the public safety with the road.
Okay. Board members, any other questions?
Could I just add to that?
Sure.
The character of the neighborhood is important to, I'm sure, the people who live there. It's also important to me. I've tried to do everything that I've done in this city for the good of the neighborhood as well as my own good. At sometimes at great expense, and in this case, when I looked at this whole thing, I looked at the total amount of cost involved in really improving that to the maximum that you could improve it and stay within the outline of the existing street. The stone walls, you're right, would remain, and I believe should remain. They add a lot of character to that. Mm-hmm. And when the roadway is in place in between there with the water and sewer, it's going to, that's the least impact, the most you can improve the roadway with the least impact to the abutters. Yes, I could take out the stone walls. Any one of the abutters to that road has the right to improve it. Anyone, not just myself because I'm buying a lot, but anyone who lives on that road and abuts it has the right to improve it. This is the one chance that both the neighborhood and the city is going to get the chance to improve that to what I think is the most feasible manner at no cost to anybody but me. And cost shouldn't be a factor in decisions. And if I had to look at the total cost of this project again from the time of inception till today, and the money that I've spent already, I probably would have never put an offer on the property to begin with. But that's not your problem. That's not anybody's problem. I'm here to try to do the best job that I can for everybody involved. And thank you.
And I will say, Mr. Torrey, that the projects that you have brought before the zoning board have always turned out very well, to your credit. So, all right, we have a letter, I guess I'll read it in right now, that has come to us from Diana Tosca, Renzo Blas Renzo, 1036 Ash Street. Somebody say something?
No, I said Reynoso, the last name, Reynoso.
Reynoso is his last name, he's saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mispronounced it, I'm sorry. Okay, so you're here. All right. So it says, as an abutter who never received formal notice for the stated project and as a concerned resident who has lived in this neighborhood on and off since '72, I ask that this project be placed on hold and all work cease until further notice. My concerns are regarding the project at 1036 Ash Street Extension discussed at the Planning Board meeting on September 3rd and Plot 46-2 to be discussed at the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting on October 15th. As a property owner of land that abuts a private way and with rights to the middle of the road, I am confused how the developer feels that he has the right to make statements of widening this road. That would entail encroaching and using private property of homeowners in the area to do so. I am not in agreement that the road be widened, nor my land be used to do so. There was mention of a street light, and I think what is meant here is a traffic signal to be placed at the intersection of Westchester and Ash. I feel as residents of Ward 3, this requires a discussion on how this traffic light would impact the residents who live at this intersection. I do not feel that traffic light is the answer or solution to an already noted traffic issue. Heavy idle traffic in front of my home due to traffic signal will worsen air quality. With this size project and its impact on the road, there are trucks going to be parking and moving the debris to and from. The residents will be inconvenienced. There was discussion of cutting down trees and some confusion factor regarding 3.5 feet. Many of these trees along Ash Street Extension are on my property, and again, I was never notified of the project or its details and will not agree to tree removal from my property. There is a big concern that this project will not remain as it was stated to be and will in the future be tied into a much larger community. The response from the engineer, or the lack thereof, shows the difficulty working with or getting answers from those companies. These valid concerns raise questions of shortcuts the builder and engineer are taking an attempt to push this project through, and without anyone challenging what is proposed. Please consider when making this decision whether to move forward, place a temporary hold on this project until there is more clarity to the concerns of the residents who live in this neighborhood. There should be no changes made to Ash Street Extension until everyone has an opportunity to dispute or voice their opinions on these proposals. So that's the letter that has come in relative to that private way. All right, board members, any other questions for the petitioner? You good? Okay, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone in the room that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone that wants to speak in opposition? Okay, the only thing I would ask, where there are three of you, if you have specific things you want to talk about, people that follow the first leader, if you don't repeat the same thing over and over again, if you have something new to add. That's all I would ask. So if you want to come up, identify yourself.
Well, I did, sorry. My name is Peter Marianos, and I live at 1039 Ash Street. I've been there for close to 40 years now. I did submit a letter to the city. I'm not sure if you guys received it. It's a letter in opposition of this whole project going forward. And it did get stamped by the city clerk, I believe, sometime last week, but I didn't know the proper channels to where to bring the letter.
So you
to.
delivered that to the clerk's office?
I did, and then they also had me deliver it to where the old Edison building is. I don't know what the...
Oh, that's the
planning board, I believe?
planning board?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so where'd the letter go? Planning board?
Planning department, yes.
Planning department. Okay, so it never got here, it's at the planning.
I can forward over a copy, or I can just read it.
Summarize it, yeah, if you will.
Okay, I'm writing this as a property owner, obviously, at 1039 Ash Street, where I have resided for close to 40 years. This is a matter presents multiple legal safeties, what I believe legal safety and access issues that must be addressed prior to anything going on there. First of all, the street in question, as you already stated, it's very, very small. They've already proceeded with several street markings where they're going to dig up the street. And it's a very, very small street. You said you have visited, and you know about that. Once digging begins, where I am, and I have over 200 feet, I believe close to 200 feet of frontage, I will be completely unable to access my property, either enter it or exit by vehicle or by foot. That much, it needs to be addressed, and it hasn't.
Is your house on West Church, just west of Ash?
1039 Ash Street Extension.
Okay, so you couldn't get into the street, is what you're
I could not get into the street, in or out. And as a matter of fact, I have a circular driveway with an entrance on one side and an entrance on the other. It's going to be completely dead for me.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Okay, safety issue. As I said, no time should be placed in a situation where access to our property is obstructed. Emergency responders must be guaranteed uninterrupted access to at all times for all of the properties there, for the remainder of the 4 other houses that are there. And also, I object to any proposal involved in widening this private road, which is owned by us, as you clearly stated, cutting trees without direct notice to us, no consultation whatsoever. There's been no approval by any of the abutters as far as I know. I talked to them all. And again, being a private road, we do have a say. And these 2 gentlemen over here seem to know what's best for us, and they keep saying how it's going to improve our lives. Well, that's easy for them to say because they're really not affected by it. Well, I am. I'm right in the front. And that's very, very important. So I think the council and you and whoever else is responsible is going to have to take that into consideration if this project goes forward. And furthermore, they have other plans, as I believe, because the property that they bought from the Sackos also has some more land towards West Bridgewater, so to speak, on the south end of it, that they also want to develop. So there's there's some hidden stuff here that they're not telling you the whole thing. He just briefly just mentioned it, but it's not, that's not the whole story.
I think he mentioned that there was 2 other lots they were looking to develop. He did mention that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And basically, it just, like I said, given the facts, you know, it's going to be a great, great hardship for me to be able to get in and out of my property. And we really don't want to lose the character of the street. Been there for a long time, and it's a sweet spot in the city of Brockton. People come there all the time, including city officials, and say, oh my God, you guys must be in heaven here. Now all of a sudden they're proposing all of this other stuff because they're trying to get a lot in there.
Okay, very good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak?
Good evening.
Could you give us your name and address?
Yeah, Diana Tosca Reynoso, and I actually live at 572 West Chestnut Street. So part of my property abuts Ash Street Extension, and the other front of our home runs along West Chestnut Street. I just wanted to mention that you had asked a specific question that have you discussed it with property owners about going in and cutting down their trees. And that's never been a discussion or a conversation amongst any of them. And I agree with Peter that, the nostalgia of this road, I've lived here on and off since 1972. And there's been changes, but it's remained nostalgic. The road has remained the way that it's always been. And to come in and say that they're just going to take over and widen the road, I am opposed to that. And I also believe that there's safety concerns about, trucks moving in and out to do these big jobs that they're proposing. It's easy to say that they can come in and make everything glorified and beautiful, but maybe the property owners that live there don't want that. Maybe we want to keep it the way that it is and keep it quiet and quaint and enjoy how we're living as we are. So I just wanted to mention, you read my concerns that I had written. I was never even informed of the other meeting, so I couldn't attend to speak about that, which by right, I should have been notified, but I wasn't. I did get this paperwork for this, and I wasn't even sure what he was talking about the intersection, because our property also runs into that intersection. So I don't know if he was talking about putting curbing on part of my property there as well. He was talking about granite curbing, and I'm not sure where exactly that's going to run either, because our property goes to the end of Ash Street Extension and connects to West Chestnut Street. So I would ask that you take our concerns that this gentleman had read prior to us standing here and take into great consideration not allowing this project to move forward, at least at this time, until maybe other options are discussed and brought up.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have a question you want to ask her? Anybody? We're good? Okay.
Chairman, if I could just say one thing in regards to the abutters' concerns that we were hiding anything. There's nothing to be hidden. There wasn't a definitive subdivision that has overrun or that has already expired on any appeals. They had notice of this. And the fact that there are trees that would be cut down, they are in the middle of the roadway. They're not on their actual properties, but the owner of that lot does have the right to improve that roadway by removing those trees. So we are asking you to grant it.
Very good.
I'm Blas Reynoso. We owe to the middle of the street. The city forced me to sell 1 acre to the neighbors or to my sister-in-law because you cannot build in less than 1 acre in the area. So please take that in consideration too. They cannot just say, we're going to be jumping and cut all the street they are there. I'm not going to allow. And as Peter said, how they going to go into their house. When it's problem over there, they use my driveway, and I don't have problems. But I will have problems if that go through. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there any elected official in the room that wants to be heard on the issue? Councilor.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, good to see you. I'm here to speak against this project. I've heard the residents speak. That neighborhood is a very unique part of Brockton. Most of the residents have been there 30, 40 years, have paid taxes, maintained their property. I know the chief has been up there. That is just a very nice section of Brockton, which I don't want to see changed. It is a private way, and the people there, they have to give up a lot. They're going to take trees down, they'll change the frontage of their yard. That's a lot to ask for long-term residents in the city of Brockton. I also agree with the chief, public safety-wise, those two stone walls, they're not going anywhere. And we live in New England. We could have a big snowstorms, multiple snowstorms. That road could get narrow as 15, maybe 10 feet. You couldn't get a fire engine down there. It'd be very hard for the residents going in and out of there each and every day. As it is now, they're dealing with the traffic on West Chestnut Street, which is a problem that the city's been trying to address for decades without much success. So I don't want to do anything that would impede the quality of their lives in their neighborhood or increase the traffic on West Chestnut Street. For those reasons I gave, I ask you to vote against this tonight. Thank you very much, board members. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very good, thank you. Is there any other elected official in the room that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, is there anyone in the room that has a question relative to the testimony that has been given? Seeing none, what?
Can I submit that letter that I wrote? That you guys
Certainly you can, yep. Thank you. Very good, thank you. That will conclude the public discussion on the issue. I will now open it up to board members for discussion. Board members.
So when I saw this on the planning board, we approved it to move forward to the zoning board. As a result of the DPW meeting, which is, I'm learning this now, you either build it out or you keep the character, and it seems like there's somewhere in between right now. And it seemed obviously the neighbors aren't on board with this. The traffic concerns me. Ash in West Chestnut, Southwest West Chestnut, Linwood West Chestnut, it's all connected. With curbing that comes out to the, you don't have enough curbing to implement a crosswalk on West Chestnut, because in order to put a RRFB flashing unit, you need a sidewalk, if I'm not mistaken. So you wouldn't have that as a foot traffic as you build more residents in that neighborhood. For those reasons, I don't think I'm on board with it.
Yeah, I'm definitely concerned about the fact that the neighbors, doesn't seem like there's been communication with them.
Could you speak a little closer to the mic?
Sorry about that.
Much better.
I'm concerned about the lack of communications with the neighbors regarding the private road. And I definitely think something needs to happen before a decision is made here. Discussions need to be had.
I think this project needs the approval of the property owners before they get our approval. And they do own up to the middle of the street, so I can't see how we can approve it without their approval first.
Motion to grant?
Second.
Okay, a motion is made and seconded to grant to allow them to construct that house on the lot as described. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Lanus.
No.
Ms. Hodges.
No.
Mr. Sweeney.
No.
Ms. Greenberry.
No.
Chair Gallagher.
No.
Mr. Chair, that's 0 in the affirmative, 5 in the negative.
Vote is 0 in the affirmative, 5 in the negative. The petition as presented is denied. Sure. We're going to take a couple of minutes for a recess. reconvene the board meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for October 15th. The next petition that is before us is petition 2559. The petition of Michael Davids, 20 Bouvet Avenue, Brockton, Mass. For a variance seeking relief from Section 27.9, Section 27.12, to overturn a building lot determination to construct a single-family dwelling with parking on a lot lacking frontage and area in an R1C zone located 17 Woodland Avenue.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Attorney Jim Burke, and I'm an attorney at law with offices at 48 North Pearl Street, and I have the pleasure of representing Mr. Davids before the board. This is actually an interesting fact pattern. It involves a piece of property that was owned by the city of Brockton. And in 1947, the city established a lot and transferred it to a private individual. The lot is roughly 8,000 square feet plus, and the frontage is 66.5 feet. Ultimately, that individual sold it prior to the enactment of our zoning bylaw to Eastern Edison Company. And I believe that there, because reference is made to that in assessor's records, that there was eventually a substation on that particular lot. The lot is in a single-family residential district, and we submitted a request for a buildable lot under 2712. And I think, even though the fact patterns are different, and interestingly so, I think it clearly meets the criteria for 2712, and in fact exists as a buildable lot under the direction of the Correa case that we previously talked about before the Zoning Board of Appeals. In roughly, I think, 2020, a prior owner submitted a request for determination of a buildable lot, and that buildable lot determination was denied by the building department, and the notation, as I have included in my materials, was that a previously existed as a substation. The chief actually, interestingly enough, in a prior case, talked about the issue of multiple requests for building determination. We submitted a request for determination. The building department, based on their custom and practice, did not respond because there had previously been a determination. The 30 days lapsed, which is the time frame that the building department has got to make a determination, and it is deemed to have been denied at that point in time. There is no statutory limit on the number of times that you can present a determination for buildability before the building department. Actually, there is no case of record that specifically addresses the issue, except it does in dicta, which means there's something that they were interested in and as an aside made a comment. But there is a broad amount of literature in legal representation, legal treatises that talk about the issue. And the determination basically among all of the authors is there's no limitation, because in fact the fact pattern could be different on one building determination to another. So the fact that in 2020 someone made a decision, maybe inartfully, and requested a determination, that has no bearing on a subsequent filing before this board. So we respectfully disagree, at least on the concept, and I'm trying to explain why. So as it relates to this specific fact pattern, as I said again, it was owned by the city of Brockton, and the city of Brockton itself created a lot and identified it that was on record ultimately at the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds, but it references an assessor's plan as part of its identification. So once that property was in fact sold, and sold to the building, to Easton Edison. I don't know whether or not they secured a special permit or a variance. I assume they did not, because the activity was prior to 1967, so it pre-existed prior to the enactment of our zoning ordinance. So in fact, they just created a use which is now not allowed in a residential zone. The lot, therefore, then became a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The reason why it is not buildable is because, as it is referenced by the building department, that there was in fact a structure at one time which in fact was not grandfathered because it was removed. So as a result, you now have a lot that basically is useless. I have also, in the alternative, made a determination request of this board to make a determination of a variance if it determines that my argument in relation to 2712 is not applicable. And I think that's more than relevant because, in fact, the hardship it clearly is that you had an existable lot that was, in fact, impacted by a non-conforming use that's no longer allowed. When it was removed, the only use that it could be put to is residential. And in fact, because it was not built prior to 67, it then becomes essentially a useless property. So it basically is not usable for any use allowed in a residential zone. So referencing briefly, because you've already heard the argument, under the Correa case, basically what the court made a determination is if there is a structure that affects buildability, the only structure that's really relevant is whether it's a habitable structure. And in fact, a substation is not a habitable structure. So what you're left with is a lot that even in and of itself clearly meets the requirements of 2712. It's over 5,000 square feet. It has more than 50 feet of frontage. And if you look at the plan developed by Scott, and I'm going to hand it over to him briefly, the entire plan meets the setback requirements and dimensional requirements of a single-family home. So I would ask your determination be made, not that the building department was lacking in direction when it made its decision, because we certainly understand why prior to our determination in Correa. But in fact, it does meet the requirements of 2712 and should be determined a buildable lot. And in the alternative, clearly, I think there is an established hardship for that piece of property. And if a variance is not granted, it can never be used for anything. And that's not what's really the intent of the zoning ordinances or 40A. So, Scott, you're up.
Thank you. Before Scott goes up, can you just kind of reiterate what your hardship is going to be if we go the hardship route? The fact that the lot can't be used for anything else?
Yeah, that's ultimately the hardship under 40A, that because you've made a determination that the 2712 doesn't exist, a lot that was in fact buildable when it was initially transferred by the city of Brockton, that made it an identifiable lot, that's also an issue that's raised under 2712. That in fact now, because of the impact as determined by the building department of a non-conforming structure that probably wasn't permitted because it was prior to the enactment of the zoning ordinance, it's now deemed to be useless. And that is in fact a hardship.
Just real quickly, folks, what we have for a proposed house is a 4-bedroom home. In hearing a lot of our comments the last few months about these houses, while they may meet zoning, they're kind of sprawling all over the lot. We've taken to use this house a couple of times. We've started calling it the Gormley House. It's been used over the years. So that's what we have proposed here. It's a 28-foot wide, 34-foot deep house. The front door is right in the middle of the front-facing wall, so the front door faces Woodland Street. It allows us to have an 18-foot and a 20-foot setback on the side yard and plenty of room both front and back. So there are no setback variances due to the house size and the placement of the lot. And again, it's a four-bedroom house.
And I guess I would add, in terms of whether it is consistent with the existing neighborhood, I think in my brief, and I'm trying to find it, basically, I think there was a determination that there are 20 houses in the neighborhood that have less frontage than the 66.5 feet. Also, in terms of the area, the 8,000 square feet is, again, also consistent with the existing structures, houses in the single-family area. So there is nothing that would suggest a determination, if it's approved, that it wouldn't be a benefit to the community and blend well with the existing neighborhood. Thank you.
So once again, the obvious question is, will the front door face Woodland Avenue?
It does, right in the middle of the front-facing wall on Woodland.
Very good, thank you. Board members, any questions?
None
Good.
for me.
I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there any elected official in the room that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone in the room that has a question relative to the testimony that has been given? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. That concludes the public discussion. I will now open it up for discussion among board members. Board members.
I mean, I think this proposed dwelling has better setback than its neighbors. If you include the shed on the left, I think it might be, one of the occasions, it doesn't need any setback relief at all. So, in this case, it seems like it's a suitable use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the lot size is similar to many of the other lots there, actually bigger than a few of them. I don't see an issue with this.
I
One of
don't
the
either.
Go ahead.
No, I don't see
One of the
it.
concerns the board has had on these narrow, long lots that are lots in established neighborhoods, that a proposed dwelling fits the lot. It runs similar to the length of the lot rather than the width of the lot. And in this one, we have seen a number of these that have been put in around the city that fit well on that lot. My only comment on the determination about overriding the building inspector, the last correspondence we have from a prior building inspector who's not around now made a determination that that was not a buildable lot without a variance. And the petitioner has stated that if another determination was made and it was similar, and he had 30 days to challenge that, I think then we would have a challenge to the latest overturning or try to overturn the decision of the building inspector. So my thought to the board is that probably the best thing to do to clean up and make this the way it would be the cleanest, shall I say, resolution to this problem is to look at granting a possible variance. And that would be up to the board to determine what you want to do with the variance. So, do you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I think variance is probably the way to go, given the explanation.
That's the best way to handle it, if the board wants to grant the variance. So the petitioner is at our mercy as to whether he gets a grant. So he showed a hardship, and it is in conformance with all the other lots in the neighborhood, and the proposed dwelling seems to fit the lot very well, in my opinion.
Motion to grant.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to grant. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Lannis?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Ms. Greenberry?
Yes.
Chair Galligan?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, that's 5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative for a variance.
Vote is 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The petition is granted. The variance is granted.
Thank the board for its time.
Next petition, 2560, the petition of Carlos Andrade, 86 Riverview Street, Brockton, Mass., for a variance, seeking relief from Article 4, Section 2710, to build an addition lacking a sideline setback in an R1C zone located at 86 Riverview Street.
Good evening, the chair and the members of the board. My name is Carlos Andrade, and I'm the owner at 86 River Street, Brockton. I'm here tonight to request a variance for a side setback in R1C zoning to allow for a small addition. The reason for my request is that the existing house sits only about 9 feet from the sideline, while the zoning requirement is 15, making it a full compliance impossible. The proposed addition will provide essential living space for my family, including my fiance, mother, siblings, and my 4-year-old daughter and myself. I have designed the project to stay consistent with the neighborhood, match the existing house, and not negatively impact any neighbor's property. I have also spoken with my neighbors, and they expressed their support to the project. The hardships comes from the way the house was built, and it sits on the lot. It's only about 9 feet from the sideline, and there is a sliding door on that side, so it makes it impossible for me to do the addition without blocking that access or make a structure change. This variance would let us add the space we need for the family while keeping the home consistent with the neighborhood and without affecting any of my neighbors. Thank you.
Is this addition going to go where the deck is in the back?
Yes. Yes.
So it's not going to go any further towards the side?
No, it's still where it is now.
Okay.
So are you removing the deck or are you building into it?
No, I'm going to remove the deck and I'm going to do the foundation building up.
Okay. Is that going to be a basement foundation or slab foundation?
Slab foundation.
So one level or two?
One level.
One level.
If this is built, there'll be no deck?
No, sir.
Are you constrained by the layout of the house as to where this addition could be placed?
No.
Or it can only be placed where you're trying to put it, is what I'm asking?
Yes.
So the foundation is a hardship on this?
Yes.
The driveway that I saw when I went there, it looks like it may hold 2 cars side by side?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so one of the concerns we will have as a zoning board is the green space that is in the front yard shall not be reduced from what you're showing.
It won't be reduced.
So even though you may have some additional people that may live here, My concern is, I don't want to see that front yard blacktopped, so it becomes a sea of blacktop with no grass.
No.
So you understand that?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay, good. Board members, any questions?
And the room you're going to build, it'll just be like a family room? Like,
Yes, on top it's gonna be like a TV room, and the underneath one is gonna be like it's gonna be a wet bar with a living room.
not like a full kitchen, nothing like that?
No, sir.
So this addition would have an entrance from, I'm going to call the basement of the current house into the new addition.
Yes, sir.
And then up on the first floor, that's as high as it goes, just that first floor.
Yes, sir.
And the height of this is no higher than the current house?
No, it'll be at 20 feet, I think 6. Same height as the current house.
Board members, any other question? I have a letter here from Antonio Acosta, 90 Riverview Street. He is the adjoining property owner, and he fully supports this request. Mr. Andrade has been a respectful neighbor. His proposed addition is reasonable and thoughtfully designed. From my property line, I do not anticipate any negative effects, such as loss of privacy, obstruction, or other impact. So he's in favor. We have another letter that has come in from Antero Alv, 78 Riverview Street. He says he lives nearby at 78. The proposed addition is modest and will not adversely affect my property or the character of the neighborhood. This project will enhance the property's appearance and maintain the harmony of Riverview. And he talks about being a responsible, considerate neighbor. And we have one other one, S. Carlos from Pauline Avenue. So there's 3 letters that have come in to us in support. So any other questions from board members? None? We're good? Okay, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there any elected official in the room that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone in the room that has any question relative to the testimony that has been given? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. That concludes the public discussion on the issue. I will now open it up for deliberation among board members. Board members.
I like the fact that he's not going beyond what he's already been approved for in a deck, and I'm assuming that was gone through, went through the building department. We usually ask in those type of lots that, the back, seek the relief wherever you can find it on your own first, and the back is usually, depending on the lot, the better avenue. It seems like they keep the property well done. My concern, to echo the chief, would be to keep the green space. After a while, when you see people pave their driveways, the neighborhood just kind of changes for the negative. Seeing green really, keeps the neighborhood intact as far as aesthetically. So other than that, I don't really see an issue with it.
So the house was built with apparently 9 feet of sideline setback years ago. And this addition is not going to further encroach on that. And I think he said that the location of the foundation of the house creates the hardship, and there is no other location that he can put this on the house.
But advise that this can be a special permit.
Pardon me?
This can be a special permit.
Because it is following the line of the house.
That's correct.
Exactly, good catch.
Could you repeat that? I want to learn that. What was that? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
So what the building inspector just suggested is, rather than a variance where you have to determine a hardship, this can be reduced to a special permit. A special permit, you don't have to show a hardship. Basically, a special permit is up to the zoning board to determine if it logically fits in the neighborhood, if it fits on the lot, does it make sense?
That would be a
It's
special
different than a
permit
variance.
in
Yeah.
regards to that.
All right, so we will change this based upon upgrading to a special permit. Mr. Building Inspector, that's your determination. You're the boss on this one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We've had these before where we followed the foundation. All right, so we're in discussion.
Are we in deliberation? Okay. Yeah, if any of you guys want to chime in, I'll motion to grant.
Second?
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to grant the addition as shown with the stipulation that the green space shall be maintained in the front yard. Okay, that's good?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Lannis?
Yes.
Ms. Hodges?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Ms. Greenberry?
Yes.
Chair Galligan?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, that's 5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative.
Thank you, guys.
A special permit for the addition as shown on the plan is granted with the stipulation of the green space.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good luck.
Welcome.
Okay, the next case is 2561, the petitioner JCBT Architect LLC, 606 Washington Street, Quincy, Mass., for a special permit seeking relief from Article 4, Section 2734 to increase residential units and parking spaces in a mixed-use new construction to 88 residential units and 112 parking spaces in an I-2 zone located 159 North Main Street. As the board can remember, a while back, this has been before us numerous times, and they were granted a variance, and now they're before us asking to increase the number of apartments and increase the number of parking spaces.
That is correct.
Okay. And we have a letter that has come in from planning that says 159 North Main Street, if approved, the project must return to the planning board and request a modification to the originally approved plan.
We understand that.
Good. Okay, you're all set.
Good evening again, Chairman and Board. Chris Vale on behalf of the petitioner, Robert Belcher. Along with me is Jim Chen and Bonnie Tran from JCBT Architect. The petitioner, Mr. Belcher, is requesting a variance under Article 4, Section 2734, to allow residential use of his pre-existing commercial garage in an Industrial 2 zone. As you heard from the chairman, in 2024, this project was previously granted by the board, allowing the petitioner to build a residential building consisting of 68 units. However, due to expensive costs of construction, Mr. Belcher has now returned to the board seeking 88 units, an additional 20, by reconfiguring the building's layout. By granting an increase in units, it will make the project economically and financially viable. 159 North Main Street is the site of a former garage and automotive repair facility. Mr. Belcher's business is no longer in operation, and creating another garage and automotive repair facility in downtown Brockton would not be practical. Downtown Brockton has changed with industrial zones becoming now residential. The proposed building will consist of 88 residential units with 112 parking spaces. The breakdown of the building will consist of 8 units of larger 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms, 56 units of 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 16 units of 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. There will be 2 levels of parking by raising the existing garage level and using that for parking along with the first floor. This will create 92 parking spaces, the first floor with 32 spaces, and the basement will have 60 spaces. An additional 20 outdoor parking spaces are in existence at the street level, which will be in mixed use with the existence of a 2,700 square foot commercial space. The below-grade parking will enter and exit from Charles Street, while the at-grade parking will be accessed from North Main Street, thus making the parking ratio to be 1.27 spaces per unit. The building will be provided with 2 elevators and properly sprinkled for fire safety. We believe the project will have ample amount of parking spaces for its tenants with its close proximity to public transportation of the BAT bus system and the MBTA rail line. Having a second vehicle for most multi-bedroom units will not be needed, as they can rely on the close proximity of the public transportation. This project will bring vitality to downtown Brockton businesses. An apartment building of this nature and location will attract and provide an alternative for professionals who work in and around the Boston area, who either cannot afford the expensive Boston rents, or professionals that would simply prefer to have a lower rent while still maintaining access to the city. A development of this nature will also result in an increase to the tax revenue to the city and will help with the shortage of homes available. Regarding hardship, in which the board previously found in 2024, the main hardship is that the land on 159 North Main Street is in an industrial zone. The allowed uses in this industrial 2 zone are no longer practical or viable anymore in this location. In addition to these allowed industrial uses, the downtown Brockton area's roadway doesn't support large trucking where they belong closer to highways. For example, in the modern printing building, which was a printing company, is now a residential apartment complex in which they moved their business closer to the highway and out of downtown Brockton. In addition, the current building itself is not viable for business, and itself is a hardship on the land and the area where it's located. So in order to conclude, Mr. Belcher is requesting that the board grant a variance for his modified 2024 plans with the increased volume of units, simply because the math didn't work out with the 68 units. So that's why he's requesting the increase.
How many parking spots did we originally have?
I think it was 96.
96?
Total 96.
96.
Now, was this originally reduced and then brought back up? Like, how many times have we gone back and forth? Just curious.
From my recollection, I know I read a memo that said that we've been 4 times.
Okay, and
so
that's
I'm
for size?
I'm assuming that's probably what happened,
Okay.
but I've never been part of this project.
Okay.
I know normally what happens is you get a number, it's too much, then you go to the,
Yeah, yeah. No, and I understand the reasoning, but just purely curious.
but the location is an area which I know the Spot has done a lot of renovations to that area. This building is just an eyesore, and they're trying to do something with it. However, with construction costs nowadays, they just need more units in order to get somebody to start building on it.
Would the developer be against exterior lighting around the whole building?
No.
Okay, because I would like to see that as a stipulation if we could. It brings, it can be seen from the train, which is very important, in my opinion, for the vibrance of the city. When you drive by on the train, it's very dark, except for a few buildings. But I guess, thank you for your answer.
All right, I'll just give you a quick review of where this has been. This is a little bit convoluted. It's been to us a number of times. In July of 24, they were granted 50 units with 102 parking places. 50 with 102 in July of 24. November of 24, were granted 68 units with 102 parking spaces. They went from 50 to 68. So we went from 50 and 102 to 68 and 102, and I guess now we're up to 88 with 112. The increase in parking, if the footprint of the building has not changed, where did you gain the extra parking?
I think majority of it is.
You just got to take
through. Sorry. Good evening. My name is Jim Chen, architect. So the majority of the parking that was gained was through the 9 tandem parking down in the lower level.
So those new parking spaces in the lower level of the garage, when I saw it on the plan, it looks like one car parks behind the other?
Yeah, those are the tandem parkings.
So that's new in this plan?
That's
I
correct.
never saw double parking in this before?
Correct.
That's where you gain the extra parking?
That is correct.
Okay. So you're telling us tonight that the footprint of the building has not changed at all? It's the size of the apartments, and the double parking in the garage got us up to 112 parking places,
That is correct, sir.
with 2 elevators.
That is correct. Increase from 1 to 2.
I think at one time this had 1 elevator, and I think at some idiocracy here, they added a second elevator, which they should have done, which, okay. So anyway, to answer your question, that's how it's been to us several times with different numbers.
Okay.
Now, I think what we need to consider is the double parking, one behind the other in the parking garage. That's certainly a little bit different than what we have seen in the past.
Do you mind, if you don't mind, Mr. Chair, could you bring that parking situation up before us on there, so that we're all on the same page? Thank you.
So this is the lower level. You'll see the tandem parking right to the left side of the building.
On the Charles Street side.
On the Charles Street side, correct.
Okay.
That will typically serve 1 unit.
So it appears as though we have a designated number of parking spaces for the people that actually live in the building. We don't have any location here for anybody that comes to visit this location. They got to park wherever they can park them.
We do have 20 parkings on the exterior and in the front of the building, so that will majority serve the visitors. The in-garage parking will be for the residents, as the exterior parking for reserved for the retail and the visitor parking.
So there's a retail piece to this that faces Main Street?
That's correct, yes.
To get the additional apartments in this building, I noticed that you have reconfigured the size of these apartments. I saw a number of apartments that have just over 300 square feet.
That is incorrect. The smallest one we have is around 450 square feet.
Well, I'm looking to the ones by the stairway and the elevator at the heart of the building. I think what I saw, 300 and something square feet. The only reason I mention it is we have a regulation that has to be 400 square feet.
Yeah, we do have one directly next to the stair, which is at 411 square feet.
How much?
411 square
Where
feet.
did I get the 300? Is there a 300 there? I know I read it.
375 is listed as the net area, but the gross area is 411.
So the gross area as opposed to the net area is the amount of living space that you can use.
That is correct, excluding closets and
Okay, so my point is, those are pretty small apartments. In other words, you've made a number of these apartments smaller to get more apartments in.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
I think I would classify that as a studio unit rather than a single one-bedroom.
The other thing that I know we've discussed in the past, well, of course, the parking that's in the front, I don't know how you're going to regulate that to keep it only for visitors going in there, but, you know, that would be up to the building management, I'm sure. But the other thing that we haven't discussed is with the entrance and exit to the parking garage on Charles Street. That street is so narrow that probably parking is going to have to be prohibited on that street. If one car parks on that street right now, there's only room for one car to get by. Nothing has been brought forth to the Traffic Commission to talk anything about that. The other thing to consider is on the front. I noticed on the plans, it showed no parking in front of the building, and that's supposed to be for emergency vehicles or whatever in the front of the building?
Yes, so this area will be like sort of a drop-off area and...
Talking on Main Street.
On Main Street. This area here? We have one ingress into the lot and coming out on the other side. So in between these two curb cuts, there's a space right in front of the property.
Okay, I saw the drawing where the fire truck can make the turn to go in off the lot, but my concern was there was going to be prohibited parking on North Main Street for emergency vehicle access at the front of North Main Street. When you swing Charles Street, there was the same thing on Charles Street, that there would be prohibited parking, and we've never discussed any of that. So it's just a point that I want to make up, that if this is approved, there's going to have to be requests to modify parking on city streets around this building.
Agree. Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So this whole thing comes down to, and make sure I got this straight, you have a variance right now that allows you to construct this building with 68 units and 102 parking places. You can build that tomorrow morning, correct?
That is correct.
I believe so. I don't believe it's lapsed.
No, I don't either. Yeah. So you're here tonight with the permission and the authority to build this building with 68 units and 102 parking places. You're here tonight asking to expand the 68 to 88 and expand the parking from 102 to 112. And we find that the reason the parking went up is because we double park one behind the other in the garage. That's where we made it up.
Correct. And for practical senses, just nobody was offering to purchase or work on this project with the size as is with the variance that they received back in November.
Well, okay, I guess that's, I'll talk in deliberation, but that's all the questions I have. Anybody got any questions they want to ask on this?
Yeah, just a quick question on the double parking. How does that work?
So I believe normally it would be for the 3-bedroom units where it would be people that would have 2 cars per unit, where one comes in earlier or schedules it with the other unit or with whoever's living with them.
Okay.
Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
You have an example of a building that works out with, or something, what's the closest building from here to Boston that has that?
Well, we actually did a lot of these configurations in small lots, such as lots in Boston area, front and back. It's not a preferred thing, but overall it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody good? Okay, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. I'm going to open it up now for public discussion. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there any elected official in the room that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone that has a question relative to the testimony that has been given? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. That concludes the public discussion on the issue. I will now open it up for deliberation among board members. Board members.
Well, it is a little denser. It's not ideal parking. However, it's in the middle of the city that needs density. I don't know, I'd like to see what other board members have to say.
I think the first time they came through with a big number, we were concerned about parking. And in fact, we were concerned about this building being set right on the backside of the sidewalk. And I believe in one of these plans the building is set back somewhat from the sidewalk, particularly on the Charles Street side. The problem was driving out of the garage on Charles Street, looking to the left or right, if you pull right out onto the street before you can actually see if there's any cars coming. And I think in one of the plans that we approved, probably the one they're working with now, I believe the building was pulled back enough so that we eliminated that blind spot. Do you remember that? Were you involved in that? You
It
were
was,
not.
it was a previous architect who's recently passed, so they're new to the project as well.
Okay, so anyway, that was a big discussion, that it was a terrible blind spot trying to get out of the garage, and we were very much supporting pulling this building back somewhat from the sidewalk, so it's not sitting right out on the street. So I would presume the plan that you're working with probably shows some of that. You're telling us that there is 1.2 parking places per unit. Can you give us an idea? No, we're done with public, we're talking among ourselves. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You led me to a good question, Chief. So I think we did talk about one of those systems that beeps like you'd see in Boston when you come out, alerting pedestrians and other traffic. Is, you know, if you'd allow, could they answer that on their plan?
You want to ask that question?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So we, on a previous plan, since this has come through quite a few times, I'm sure you're familiar with the system when you get close, like you see in Boston or the Seaport, it rapidly beeps alerting pedestrians in traffic. Is that something that's on this plan, or is that something that's going to be presented with this plan?
I don't believe it's on the plan, but that's something that we would stipulate to.
I think we should, because of how tight that is. Chief makes a very good, I mean, I'd rather deal with it now than deal with the tragedy.
That's something that we would stipulate.
Okay.
So if you're exiting the garage, we need to warn any pedestrians on the sidewalk that there may be a vehicle exiting the garage. I think that's key. I don't know if we ever discussed that before, but.
Yeah, usually we did discuss
I
it.
think that this is the one we did, and
Yeah.
it's a perfect use for it.
Yeah.
Mirrors, or they have the mirrors on the side. If someone's walking, they can see if a car is coming out because the mirror is up.
Yeah, at least alerting that pedestrian before the nose comes out and you hit a
Yeah.
bicycle, a cyclist, or a pedestrian, or a car.
Is this a modified plan from the last one, or is it totally different?
We approved the last one. So tomorrow morning, they can break ground with the plans that they have that we approved. What they're asking tonight is just a modification of the number of units in the same footprint of the building. Is that correct? That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And the hardship that they're telling us on this thing is, well, really, I don't know if they have to show a hardship. I think it should be a variance, but you're saying it's a special permit. But either way, the problem is, the biggest holdup here apparently is financing with the number of units. So it's a mess up there. Something has to be done, so.
I think you got to start developing. That's one of our toughest areas to develop and get investment. But on this particular property, if you're willing to invest in these, and I'll see you guys again on the planning board if this is approved, on that mechanism, on the lighting that I would like to have stipulated for the building to bring a little bit of vibrance into a neighborhood that's a bit run down. I think
If not the noise mechanism, because I don't, not sure how loud that would get, but at least the mirrors.
Yeah.
So that
you could
people can
calibrate
see.
it, I would imagine, to suit the neighborhood who's the
At least a
neighbors.
flashing light or something that would get your
Something,
attention.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we had all that covered in the last plan.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about it, but I think the solution was bringing the building back. So.
All right, so.
I'll motion to grant.
Second.
So there are no stipulations other than we're going to allow them to increase the number of units in the building. That's what this is all
And
about.
exterior lighting around the entire building.
You and your outside lighting, all right. And they
Hey,
agree.
Chief, you got to fight for the right.
You can bring that up in planning, too.
All right, fine.
All right, so there's a motion. Has it been seconded?
Yes.
Yep.
A motion has been made and seconded to allow them to increase, on the motion. We have a letter that we need to hear and you need to hear also. The follow-up letter I have provided in April of 2022, March 23, and June 24 for the property located at 159 North Main Street, owned by Robert Belcher. And this letter is from the Office of the City Treasurer. The current tax status of the property shows a balance of this date, of this letter, which is September 10th of this year, of $1,693.93 due on the fiscal year 24 real estate bill, $6,497.40 due on the fiscal 25 real estate bill, and a $1,500 vacant property fee issued June 20th, 2025, due in the collector's office. Apparently, a understanding has been made with the city treasurer that these need to be paid in full, and the tax title outstanding balance may be paid at the time of the sale of the property. Are you familiar with that?
We are.
Okay, so there's been an agreement that has been made on that.
I did see paperwork and I believe a letter stating that.
Okay. So we have a motion made and seconded to grant the increase in the number of units. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Lantis.
Yes.
Ms. Hodges.
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney.
Yes.
Ms. Greenberry.
Yes.
Chair Gallagher.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, 5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative.
The vote is 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The petition is granted.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck. Having no further business to come
Motion
before
to
this
adjourn.
board, we are adjourned.